Okay, so when shifting gears, still within this topic of unsolicited inbound acquisition offers, um, let's talk about a little bit the fact that a strong business is not always a sale-ready business. Why do the buyers they focus so heavily on risk during due diligence?
Diligence is really where buyers validate risk, and it's often where value is confirmed, reduced, or deals perhaps fall apart. Um, I think if you were to look back at the whole premise of valuation, the three kind of core components are flow or free cash flow, the returns, the earnings, also growth. But the third component of that equation is risk. And that's where diligence comes in a very important fashion for the buyer as well as the seller. But at the end of the day, diligence focuses on a number of different things: financial reporting, customer concentrations, contracts, compliance, governance, management depth, and so on and so forth. You are going to go through every aspect of your business, and they're going to want to validate, understand, and question different parts of your organization. Having answers or abilities to respond to those inquiries and making sure that if you don't have the answer, you have a way to remedy that is really critical. What you want to avoid is expected surprises. So when a buyer puts together an offer in an unsolicited manner, they probably don't have a great visibility into all of the underpinnings of your business. They're going to confirm that number that they shared up front through the due diligence process. That's tracing back to some of our earlier comments. That initial value may not necessarily represent the value that they're going to pay at the end of the day. It's really subject and predicated on the ease or the results that they see and establish through their due diligence process. So it's not always speed, but it's the unresolved issues over time that can sometimes derail a deal. I think what unfortunately happens here in the lower middle market is you hear about the successes, but not always do you hear about the failed deals. And there's a lot of deals that just never get to the finish line because of things that come out in this due diligence process.
So, in staying in this topic that a strong business is not always a sale-ready business, how do preparation and timing impact the business value?
Preparation and timely largely determine valuation and deal success because most value is really created or lost before the process even begins. If you're reactionary, you're not necessarily driving the sale process in the way that you could. Key preparation areas that I think are critically important for any business owner to do in advance of a sale or even in advance of that unexpected phone call is really making sure that you are positioning your company to have good financial transparency. You have looked thoughtfully at your customers or where your revenue is coming and making sure that there's no significant concentrations, making sure that the business isn't overly reliant on you as owner and that there's proper depth throughout the organization. That certainly builds resiliency and continuity. And then there's just making sure that your operations are matured to the point that there's documentation of procedures and records and things that make owner feel comfortable that a buyer can walk in and sustainably operate that business. Timing also matters because at the end of the day, you want to align these conversations ideally with strong performance on the part of your business, as well as the ability to confidently articulate that growth is going to continue into the future, right? Because ultimately, a buyer wants to buy your past history, you want to sell your future. So to be able to really paint that growth picture going forward just adds more excitement and confidence on the part of the buyer to put their best offer forward. And then I think just, when you align it from a 30,000 foot view, you want to make sure that you're personally ready. You're at the time of your life that you're ready to transition this important asset. The industry is in favor. It's attracting capital from the markets. and your performance from a business standpoint is stable and consistent, because that is a critical thing as your business gets evaluated, not over the course of one day or 1 week, over the course of potentially 6 to 9 months.
So finally, what is the biggest takeaway for business owners receiving an inbound unsolicited acquisition interest?
The outcome is really driven less by the offer itself, in my mind, and more by how strategically a business owner, manages that process from that point forward. An inbound offer may be a real opportunity, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily guarantee much. You need to understand that strong results come from owners who take a beat, take a breath, slow down, make sure that they're thinking about really what matters and are they ready to engage in this discussion. It comes from an owner that is able to pull together a strong team to get advice that helps them maximize value through this process, as well as objectively evaluate the trade-offs of pursuing an offer that comes unexpectedly versus engaging in a very deliberate, thoughtful process. Both can lead to good outcomes, but they have different probabilities of success. And understanding that trade-off, I think, is critically important, and taking the emotion out of it, making sure that you're putting your business owner cap on and thinking about it strategically. In my mind, the goal is not always that, hey, this represents a buyer, hey, let's get going. It's the buyer isn't always the hardest part if you're running a good business. The goal is controlling the process, understanding the economics, and creating competition to maximize the outcome, so that when you get to the finish line, you feel like you've properly rewarded yourself, your key people, and your employees for the effort and time, blood, sweat, and tears that you put into your business.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.